Hello, this is Randall Baxter. I'm the president of Asset Positioning Services, and our show today is all about the back-end sale. And for those of you that are aware of what the back-end sale means, it's the back-end sale is the funding process, and I'm going to tell you why I use the income approach up front, and the rest of it just kind of falls in line. So these are just more things that I want you to consider for 2024. And today the title is going to be the back end sale. So listen good, because I'm going to go really, really deep into some of the thought processes here. So sometimes when I do these PowerPoints, I have to look for pictures. And when I saw those hands shaking, I realized that's the client and you. When the client has agreed to purchase an estate plan from you and has agreed to move forward, not even realizing it, but they're going to be in multiple interviews for the back end sale. And this is so important because, I expect all my clients to be doing business with me 5 or 10 years from now. So it's not a 90-day thing. It's not a 60-day thing. It's not even a 30-day thing. It's a lifetime thing if you handle it right. So y'all have heard me talk before about the old Chinese proverb, but and I want you to listen to this. But to get where you want to go, state the answer, and then ask the questions how to get there. So stating the answer right now, as far as this webinar goes, the answer is, how do I set the stage for the back end sale? Some of you are good at it. Some of you are just selling estate plans and stopping, which is not, there's no justice, or you're not treating the client right when you just sell the estate plan. So I want you to be aware of that. But the same is true when you use the family asset positioning go-to first interview. And I'm going to explain what I mean by that. So I want you to ask yourself the question right now: where will the family tree asset positioning process take you? Where is it you want to go? So for the purpose of this training lesson, I want to show you how to take the family tree asset positioning go-to first interview, take it into the back end sale. And something you need to be aware of, if you do this right, and I know I sound like a broken record sometimes, but the front end sale it's a unique mechanism, and I've talked about the primary promise and the unique mechanisms. But a unique mechanism in this situation is a tool few people understand as the gateway to long-term financial services relationships. It's one interview that you can always refer back to. It's like a movie that should never change, no matter how many times you watch it. You should always do the go-to first interview the same way. Now, some of you will modify it. That's okay. You'll personalize it, but keep the system the same. So here's the premise or the marketing goal. It's use the front end sale to lead to the funding process and its unlimited possibilities that can be organized in a step-by-step procedure. Just let that soak in a minute, because this is the gateway to huge incomes. This is the gateway to instant, in 90 days, changing your financial structure, if you want to. So, the family tree asset positioning go-to first interview works because of the following reasons. Now, and I know you've heard these before, but FTAP works because it helps you be a better advisor if you understand the family dynamics. It gives you the opportunity to discuss the current estate plan of your prospect. It gives you the opportunity to gather the needed data. It allows you to make the proper diagnosis. And it allows you the opportunity to offer the best prescription. And that best prescription 9 times out of 10 is going to be the back end sale. You know, if it's done properly, and some of you out there, some of you say it takes 90 minutes or 2 hours. It does not. If you do this right and control the interview, it'll take you 45 minutes to do everything that I just said. 45 minutes to do all these things. If you do it correctly. But if you do it properly, in as little as 45 minutes, you will have discovered the prospect's real estate possessions, their long-term care plans, if there are any, their income sources and its stability. Think about that one. Income sources and its stability. The current known health status of the prospects, ballpark asset projects, and all of which can be measured in their context of sure things and maybes. And it looks like I misspelled there, and I'm sorry about that. But and one thing that you need to be aware of, next week we're going to be talking about gaps and cliffs and sure things and maybes. And I've heard a lot of people say that they need a little more help on that. But remember, all these things that you can accomplish in 45 minutes, and all these things that you can accomplish in 45 minutes, it can be done every time you do an interview for the first time with anybody. And they will love you for it because they'll realize that you've got a talent that most people don't have. You will have discovered or created a lifelong project desired by all people who love their families or have a legacy to protect, either by confirming the best solution is already in force, or by making the prospect aware of things they had yet to consider. You know, I saw the 3 hands over here with the little baby's hand in there. You know, grandparents have all the money in the world right now. They're controlling everything. And most of them are skipping their children and put all their love and all their affection into their grandchildren. And don't have the proper paperwork. So just remember, this is the doorway to the first back-end sale and all future sales to come. A lot of you out there selling products that once you sell the product, there's nothing that you move on, look for somebody else to sell that one product to. Well, that's insane. You either have to sell to people who have done business with you in the past, or you have to sell to people who have not done business with you in the past. If you're going to sell to people who have not done business with you in the past, why not sell them on something that will make them continue to do business with you in the future? Why do you want to just keep hunting for a new one at 2 or 3 a week? You know, so first you have to make your new client aware of what needs to be done. So I'm going to show you some data here in a minute. This is where we're going to take that deep dive, and we're going to look at some information that I think all of us need to be aware of. And so you'll understand why we should discuss income first. You know, it's a mistake to go into a life insurance sale immediately after you sell a trust. You're throwing the whole package away when you do that, especially if you don't understand the health situation, because if the life insurance policy bogs down into weeks and weeks and months, everything cools down and you have to start almost all over again. Don't do it. Listen to what I have to say. It's worth a lot of money to you. So let's talk about what retirees fear most. You know, Americans worry that they'll run out of money during retirement. That's top of mind awareness. That's TOMA, TOMA, top of mind awareness. People are worried that they're going to run out of money. So, you know, when we think about what's ahead of those who are concerned about steep healthcare outlay, running out of money is more important than what people worry about when they get sick. Although the two are so closely related, a change in health can make you run out of money real quick. So if you address these two issues together, both are legitimate fears. Both are introduced in the family tree asset positioning go-to first interview before products are discussed. You make a big mistake if you start talking about products too soon. So um, how can seniors, and I'm going to call a senior anybody over 55, uh, uh, when you get to be 65 or 70, you don't think of it that way, but it is. How can seniors and their financial advocates address this worry? Many are choosing to do so with a fixed index annuity. And that's important. Many are choosing to do so with a fixed index annuity. But guess what? A lot of people out there selling fixed index annuities because of the commission base, not because of what it does or what it says. I run into so many annuity buyers that haven't seen their annuity agent since the policy was delivered. What a mistake. Because most people, once they buy one annuity, they buy another one within a year, less than a year. And it's usually from somebody else. Well, that's crazy too. If you're using the first tenant, the family tree asset positioning process, that won't happen because you'll be engaged in an interview with these people for years and years and years. So during the 20th century, some people call it a three-legged stool. Okay. It provided an underpinning for retirees' finances, and so this cash flow could come from a source of Social Security, their employer pension, and personal savings. But employer pensions have become the exception rather than the rule for many retirees. They almost just don't exist anymore unless it's through government, state and local and federal. But so you can still find some pensions for long-term government workers, but they're really, really rare in the private sector. That's something that if you will absorb it, that the conditions have changed for retirement, and that the people who don't work for government agencies are pretty much on their own. And that's the stage I want to set before we go any further. I need you to be thinking about that. So and I did this one on purpose, all those pills. Instead of pensions, private sector employees offer employees the opportunity to put wages into defined contribution plans like a 401k. If they're not careful, the money that they set up to retire on is the money that they wind up spending for medication. But consumers have the choice of turning on a reliable income stream from a fixed index annuity for a period of time or for a lifetime to supplement other sources of income in retirement. Folks, if you were looking for something to sell, why not sell the fact that you can eliminate the fear that people are going to run out of money and eliminate the fear that they might lose their assets because of a health change? And you all have heard me say all of it, none of it, or some of it a whole bunch of times. When people ask me what to do, that's usually what I say. I'll say, well, you need to do all of it, none of it, or some of it. But it doesn't take all of it in most cases to solve these two major problems. So think about this: an income stream that retirees can't outlive. Wow, an income stream that you can't outlive. Then add on top of that, Americans are living longer than ever. I think that's dropped down a little bit in the past couple of years because of COVID. But just that concept, an income stream that retirees can't outlive, generally equates to more time spent in retirement and pressure on retirement assets to last longer. So even with Social Security and perhaps other sources of dependable cash flow, there still may be a gap between actual income and desired annual outflow. Look there, they use that word gap. There's CGAP. There still may be a gap between actual income and desired annual outflow. One of the tricks and one of the arts of what we do is to be able to demonstrate and show the gap. to explain the gap to people, because once people realize that there is a gap there and they understand that it's probably going to last the rest of their lives, they want to take care of it. A fixed index annuity can fill that gap, generating income that will last as long as the retiree and perhaps even the spouse may live. You know, two people love each other, or even just have a business agreement together. But if they love each other, they're going to want to take care of each other. And they already realize that one day it's just going to be one of them. And if you show them that sometimes if they don't look and see what happens to their income when the first one dies, it's a surprise that they realize that now all of a sudden they were middle class wealthy and now they're poor. And when you show them that, the one who's at greatest risk, which is the healthiest one, that's why I teach you all to identify the person that's closest to the cliff and acknowledge it in front of everybody. Because the person that's closer to the cliff is going to maybe get out of this and not be in a bad spot. But when they die, the income changes. The lower Social Security goes away. Sometimes the pensions go away. Sometimes the assets are drained because of the illness. You know, if you can talk to that client and be sure that they understand where that gap is in that cliff, then all you got to do now is set the stage for the back end sale. Because they're wide open for it and they want to hear it. They're ready to absorb it. But not if you walk away and forget to do it. And a lot of agents walk away and forget to do it. Attorneys walk away and forget to do it all the time. So if you have principal protection against possible market losses, as I just explained above, and the sequence of returns and risk occurs when financial markets drop early in retirement, while a retiree is tapping his or her investment portfolio. Think about that. If I'm about to retire and I've got all my money in the market, and then I retire and the market collapses, I have just destroyed my retirement dreams. I haven't destroyed it. I'd let the market do it to me. So if you catch these people right before they retire and help them find their income gaps and their income cliffs, and show them that you have products that will prevent that market loss and guarantee that lifestyle that they want to have for the rest of their lives, and that you can put a number on it, and that it probably doesn't require all of their assets, it's going to put you in a pretty good spot. So fixed income annuities can cause lifetime protection. They provide lifetime protection as well as offsetting the potential expense of a need for long-term care. Well, if you do page 2 of the confidential, you cover all that before you ever talk about products and before you ever have to set the stage for the conversation. It's almost like you're seeding the ground, and putting those people in a conversation that they want to have with each other and don't know how to do it. So let's talk about spousal benefits a minute. When jointly owned, a fixed index annuity can create income streams over the course of 2 lives for a married couple, over the full course of the lives. And I've already had that conversation with a gentleman today down in Chattanooga. And he bought an IRA. When he turns his income on in March of 2024, it's $5,000 a month for he and his wife the rest of their lives. So it's a big annuity, but he planned for it. He said, "No, we want that money for. I love my wife, and if I die, I want her to have that same income. If she dies, she wants me to have the same income." That's what you sell on the back end after you do a proper estate plan, and it can be extremely important because widows or widowers typically become single taxpayers and wind up in a higher tax bracket. And what's more, a surviving spouse may not have much experience handling the couple's finances. You have to identify that. If somebody's in the market with $1 million and it's dad over there, and you can tell dad's doing all the manipulation, all the control, I don't care to say right in front of him, if you passed away, and then I look at mom and I'll say, "Mom, are you going to be able to handle these investments?" And almost every time they'll say no. So a fixed income annuity offering continued contract ownership to the survivor may provide tax deferral and market risk-free cash flow to an aging widow or widower in need of stable income. And that, I think that key word is need. You can find whether there's going to be a need there on page 2, in the middle of that page, when we talk about gaps and cliffs and sure things and maybes. And again, that next week, that's what we're going to talk about. But right now, I just want to set the stage to where you can realize, how do I put myself in a position where I'm about to have this income interview and this first back-end sale? And I don't care to tell you, I spent so much time in my early career when I first started learning about income products, how to get myself in a position to have that conversation. I didn't know how. But then I sat down and started figuring out, well, the way to do it is to be sure that it's part of the funding process of an estate plan. Then go sell the estate plan. Then go sell the estate plan first. Because when you sell the estate plan first, you owe it to the client to have an income conversation with them. And you owe it to them to be good at it, because they don't know whether you're good at it or not. And my suggestion to you is get good at it. It's profitable and it helps everybody. And the client that is not paying you to do it, the insurance company is. So a financial professional can help by determining the actual cost of buying a specific fixed income annuity to ensure that the product and associated costs meets the specific needs of the investor. The more that is known before buying a fixed index annuity, the greater the chance of enjoying the multiple benefits listed above. And I don't know, some of you heard me say that when you get into be 85 or 83, 84, 85, I like that Emeritus annuity, because some of the American equities and F&Gs and things like that make you wait 1 year before you can turn on the income. Well, if you're 83 or 84 years old, you could have a trigger event that almost tomorrow morning, not be aware of it too much. But the Emeritus contract has a 30-day wait and a 40% bonus. So if you put $500,000 into an income producing fixed index annuity at 83, it automatically within 30 days acts like it's a $700,000 contract. But you got to know those things, and you don't know what you don't know. So when you get into a situation, it's a good idea to run it by me. I might be able to help you. If I can't help you, I'll refer you to the people that I work with that are my I'm going to call them my consultants. I don't work for them, but they're my advisors, my consultants, and I like them. And and when I get in a pinch, they help. They go, Randy, you probably don't know about this product. Let me tell you about it. And they spend their lives learning products. So if running out of money is the biggest concern, why not address that issue first? Why not keep the client interested in the process by discussing there's another misspelled word. Oh my gosh. Why not keep the client interested in the process by discussing their biggest concerns? Well, we already know what their biggest concerns are, right? They're afraid they're going to run out of money, and they're a little bit concerned about what a change in health might do. Those are the two things that they want to talk about. And they don't know what the answers are. And if you do it right, they will come to the conclusion that you may know the answer that they need. And you have the obligation to them and yourself to see to it that is the first conversation that you're going to have in a proper funding of an estate plan. So have you set the stage using the primary promises and the unique mechanisms of family tree asset positioning? That's where I'm not going to say separate the men from the boys. I'm going to say set the pros from the amateurs, maybe, or set the pros from the wannabes. They know how to set the stage using the original primary promise and their unique mechanisms of the family tree asset positioning go-to first interview. So So let's think about your original primary promise. We talked about it last week. I think you would benefit from a conversation about your current estate plan. And in most cases, you will learn things you were not aware of. Man, what a great primary promise. You're not saying, hey, buy this for me, or hey, I want to sell you something. You're giving them and talking about a benefit. And people are greedy. If they're going to talk to a salesperson, they want to know what the benefit is. What kind of benefit are you trying to, are you trying to sell me a product, or are you trying to sell me a benefit? So your first unique mechanism, the family tree asset positioning go-to first interview, the proper estate design has been established already. Now it's time for a new primary promise and a new unique mechanism, because you're at that stage now where you're getting ready. You've got the estate plan done. And now to move forward, you have to do a proper funding process. And it's usually going to be more than one interview. So what is the next unique mechanism? Well, it's the Godiva delivery of the new plan. And here, when you deliver that estate plan, it's so important. Some of you are mailing them out. That's kind of scary. But some of you have so much control over your client with your Zoom calls that it's almost just, it's George Jetson all over again. When I was a kid, people could talk on their TVs and act like the person was right there with them. But to be efficient, you must set the stage for the next step. Since the biggest concern of the elderly is the fear of running out of money, why not set the stage for this discussion before the delivery appointment? Now think about that. And I tried to show you in the script. But what power phrase in the family tree asset positioning go-to first interview does that for you? It's one of the power phrases. Mr. and Mrs. New Client, now that we have your estate plan moving in the right direction, it's important that we start the funding process. The power phrase that sets the stage is, now that I know you better, I have some ideas, but I need to do a little research, need to talk to some underwriters, and run some numbers. I know that comma's in the wrong place, but I have some ideas, but I need to do a little research, and I need to talk to some underwriters and run some numbers. When you come in next week to get your estate notarized and witnessed, would you like to see your numbers? And everybody says yes, and they know they're going to be looking at some numbers when they come in, and you've already given them elementary income class 101 on gaps and cliffs before you ever talk to them about products. And when you ask them, hey, do you remember when the gaps and cliffs we talked about? They're going to say yes, but then you're going to refresh their memory a little bit. But would you like to see your numbers? People, yes, they want to see their numbers. So if you just use the things you learned in the first interview, there's another misspelled word, use, not us, use the gaps and cliffs you discovered to be your base premise of research. That's what you get when you do PowerPoints at 3 o'clock, 4 o'clock in the morning over a cup of coffee. Misspell a few words. But use what you learned in the first family tree asset positioning go-to first interview. Use the gaps and cliffs you discovered to be your base premise of research. I've had 3 or 4 phone calls today, people trying to say, well, I want a certain amount of income in January. And it turns out to be 3 estate plans and 1 back-end sale. And most people are coming in and saying, hey, I want to make about $15,000 to $20,000 a month to start with, and I want it to grow. Well, if you teach your prospects that you're going to convert to clients immediately by selling them an estate plan, if you deal with the gaps and cliffs, you're going to get that big back-end sale, at least 1 a month. And that's going to make you about $20,000 every month. So, to be prepared is to be confident. And let me tell you how I get prepared. I figure out what the gap is, and I call my friend Mike Bemis, and I say, Mike, I need some illustrations. Can you send them to me? I'm busy. And he'll go, yeah. And I'll say, I need $1,000 3 years from now on a 72-year-old male, and he wants that income for her, and she's a 68-year-old female, and we need to know what's the lowest amount of money we could put in right now to have that income in 3 years. Can you run that for me? And he'll go, yep. So be prepared. I walk in with the illustrations. I had already told him I needed to do some research and to run some numbers. Well, when I have that conversation, I've done the research and because I understand the gaps and cliffs, and I need to run some numbers, and I get that done for me. You can have it done for you too, from whoever you pick. But all IMOs are different. Okay, some recruit and abandon you, and some recruit and develop you, and some develop you. But the net front end sales value to the licensee on an estate plan is about $1,000. You got, it's $1,300 if you sell it for $1,995, but you got some expenses. But the net back end sale usually nets between $5,000 and $20,000. But and you've heard me talk over and over and over about, you get the front end sale, you get the back end sale, but you also get something that most people walk away from because they don't want to take care of it, and that's the future sales are unlimited. And a future sale is anything that happens that creates the need for a new product that is working in conjunction with life and the estate plan. Might be a death claim, might be an inheritance, might be anything. But future sales are big. And I think future sales are usually bigger than the front end and the back end. But you got to get the front end and back end before you can start having the future. So remember this. Your family tree asset positioning go-to first interview is a process that should last the entire life of the client. That's why people ask me, because I'm getting old, they look at me, what happens if you die? I always look at them and say, well, I'll give you my lifetime guarantee. It's the best I can do. But your family tree asset positioning is a process that should last the entire life of the client, and you'll get better each time you do one. And I see that's the problem with a lot of licensees. They don't do enough of them to get good at it. And I'm always encouraging them, to do the 10-7-3. Why not start today? If you have 10 suspects, convert them into 7 prospects. You'll get 3 front end sales and 1 back end sale. But and is either last week or the week before, I talked to you about the true talent and the true skill in this business is the fact that you can take a personal observation and approach someone and tell them that they're going to benefit from whatever you tell them, and that they agree to have the conversation about what you tell them you want to talk about. That's the conversion of a suspect to a prospect. And in one of my videos on my website, Let Me Teach You How to Hunt. If I can convince you to learn to hunt, you're going to be very happy with your income. But, when we talked about this last week, you have to commit your decision. You have to put your next steps on your calendar. Everyone's next step is determined by where you are, who you want to become, and what are your available resources. We've had conversations today that I want you to talk to as many people as you can, but then I want you to learn to talk to a higher grade of person financially than the ones you're talking to, and that's how you raise your income. Sometimes the only way to increase your income, if you're in the world you're in, is you have to repeat the behavior more times. But if you upgrade your suspects and prospects, you don't have to increase the repetition, the number of times you do something. You just have to increase the value of what you do each time by being able to pick better people to talk to. I hope that makes sense. It's a skill. So anyway, you got to remember that your family tree asset positioning go-to first interview will lead to long-term care discussions, asset-based long-term care, income planning discussions, current health status considerations. When I talk to a man and a wife and I realize that one of them is a lot sicker than the other one, I make the joke, hey, you're closer to the cliff than the other one. But they don't know how to say that to each other. And I've already addressed the situation when I teach you to say, hey, I'm a firm believer that your current health situation is a primary factor in investment decisions. Would you agree? And that's before we ever try to talk serious. I've already got them to agree. that's some, gaps, cliffs, sure things, maybes, health conditions, long-term care, uh, real estate, how trusts work, family trees, and those all go on before you get down to the nitty gritty. I don't see nitty gritty on that page, but that's what it is. So you've got retirement conversations, IRA reviews, 401k options, advocate discussions. You don't have all these at one time. I'd say these things might take somewhere between 6 months and a year, maybe. You can do it all real quick when you go into the income planning thing, because you're talking about all of them and how they work into the income planning discussion. But uh, the other thing that I want you to be aware of, some of you express an interest here. If you teach this one approach, you teach this one sales presentation, you have the opportunity to build an agency using one go-to first interview. If you want to leverage your income, teach people how to do what you do. So anyway, first you must get your house in order. A lot of you don't have your house in order. You don't control your calendar. You don't have a mission to get something done. And that means that you're not a very good hunter. And some of you are great hunters, but you have to have a mathematical solution that can be converted into a business plan. You have to be able to break it down. And once you get it broken down, all you have to do is repeat the behavior and increase the number of times you repeat the behavior to increase your income. So, if you have it implemented with personal accountability, and you don't have to be accountable to me, you might want to be accountable to your spouse, or you might want to be accountable to your children, but you also might want to be accountable to yourself. Implement what we're saying with personal accountability and watch what happens. Take responsibility for, if you say that you want $20,000 income next month, and it turns out to be that's all just something you say, is not something you're willing to sacrifice to do, or not something you're willing to plan to do. It's just a statement. It's just a feel-good statement. So you have to pay the price. Once you've paid the price enough, it becomes habit, and it doesn't feel like you're paying the price at all. It just feels like you're getting up and getting it done. So, but you have to be aware that what I've been trying to teach you all are these marvelous, unique mechanisms. The family tree asset positioning go-to first interview. The family estate docs estate planning software. The retire now income planning software. The 90-day plan reviewed every 30 days. Look into the future. You can see the future if you do that. Crystal ball. And the cycle of success. So I'm just asking you a question. Would this be worth learning to implement in 2024? Would you be willing to implement and examine the issues you have in the first month, and to examine what's working and what is not working? Well, if you look at the back-end sale like it's a opening and you're in a dark cave and you look up into the opening and you see light, and you realize that you've got to get to the light, then if you do a good job with the go-to first interview, and make the estate plan sale, and make the statement, hey, you've done a good job. I've got some ideas for you when you come back in next week. But before that, I need to do some research and I want to run some numbers. Do you want to see your numbers? That's the big light in the end of the tunnel. That's where the old Chinese proverb, state the answer. If you want to have a big income, learn to make a big ticket sale. And it's hard to make a big ticket sale unless you've laid out the red carpet for yourself. That's what I do. I like the red carpet. I like to know that my path is clean. So you have to have the proper mindset. All you need is a roadmap. All you need is an application process for those who have done business with you in the past. Some people, when I talk to them about how many clients do you have, don't you think you can go back and talk to them about their estate plan? It's like we turn a light bulb on. And I don't have anybody to talk to. How many clients you got? 200? 40? Even if you have 10, if you have 10 clients, if you will go and do this first interview, I promise you, you'll have 30 or 40 new suspects. So if you're out there struggling, I don't have anybody to see. I just want you to go check your glasses because you're just going to look around. An application process for those who have not. There's another misspelled word. And nobody did that. I did every one of those misspellings myself. An application process for those who have not done business with you in the past is just as valuable as an application process for those who have done business with you in the past. And you say the exact same things. As long as it's a systematic process that you've learned with coaching and training. I try my best to coach you and train you. Some of you I need to train, some of you I need to coach. A math formula that works for you and a behavioral model to follow is all you need to change your lives, to change your income structures. I have to make the assumption most of you here because you want to increase your income or change your lifestyle and then things like that. So it's a no-brainer. Here's the link. If you want to start training, you need to tell other agents that they can get a $10,000 training course for $99.95. And I know I don't charge enough for it. I don't know why I don't charge more. I'm sure I could, but I don't. Actually, I do know why. I get this nice little residual income for every case you all sell on the estate planning side, but I try to earn it. I try to help you with it. But if you want the training program, you can go there or your friends who want to get trained. I don't require that they move their business to an IMO that I use. It doesn't matter to me. If you're happy where you are, what's that song? If you're happy where you are, clap your hand. That's okay. Your training fee is refunded. I give you that $99 back. And you can tell your friends that. I give you the money back if you make your first sale using the Family Estate Doc software within 60 days. I guess I'll put a little asterisk there. So some of you, if you have a license for over 60 days and haven't made a sale, I guess it's just something you have in a savings account, or that you just want to have the a very unique mechanism to hold in reserve. I don't know why you hold it in reserve, but your commission on your first sale can be as high as $1,300 with a back end sale averaging $5,000 to $20,000. If those were apples, you could say, "Hey, you like them apples, huh?" But if you want to have your own website, go to familyestates.com. You have two options. You can do monthly. You can save $100 and go annual. Your software training begins at your convenience, or if you choose, you can just schedule time to talk with me. I have a crowded schedule. If you will email me and tell me what your desperation is, there shouldn't be any desperation. To be honest with you, there's no such thing as an annuity emergency. There isn't such thing as a fire in Oahu burning everybody up and killing a whole bunch of people without an estate plan. So, think about the unique mechanisms that we try to lay at your feet. These are the tools that if you use them, other agents don't understand them. Other agents don't know what you're doing. Other agents throw their hands up and say, "I don't know how to do that." But align your client's choices with their most important goals and most deeply held values by drawing their family tree. Help put your client's house in perfect order and allow them the tools to keep it that way. So I keep saying to you people, learn what you're selling. 1995 is an unlimited lifetime license with no more legal fees to do your estate plan. And if you add to that the proper back-end funding, creates a level of confidence that no matter what happens, their goals will be achieved. You have done a good job. So let me just do this. Elisa, if you'll help me, I don't know if there's any questions out there. It looks like there's some chat things. Are there any questions out there? If you want to open the mics or whatever you want to do, I'll take questions if I can.
If you have a question, do you want to raise a hand? Any questions from anyone?
Let's see if it's an issue by a registrant did not. Okay. Those folks who aren't getting the link, Neil, I see your message right there.
Yes, then the link is just below.
Okay. All right. So everybody's out there that wants to be on these links, we try to get you on there. I think there's a disconnect there, Lisa, between a new licensee and you getting the message that we have a new licensee. I don't think that's your fault. I think that's something, Neil, that's probably my fault. I get busy. But now that we have you in there, we want you to be here next Tuesday at 3:00 because we're going to be talking about page 2, the income gaps and cliffs and the sure things and the maybes, and why it's important to set that stage before you try to introduce a product. Here's a statement from Jake. Isn't that a financial planning conversation? When I spoke with my attorney about my trust, he did not ask me about income or expenses. Is that somehow part of the conversation? I can't read the rest of it there. Yes, I will tell you, yes, it is. It is part of the conversation. What's the purpose of having an estate plan if you don't talk about the proper funding? And income is a very big part of that sales presentation. And I'll teach you the order. Just make an appointment if you want to talk, Jake, or if you know Jennifer's good at it. All right. How about other questions?
Can I ask a question?
Yes, please.
So, I'm an enrolled agent and I do taxes and tax planning. And this looks really good, but I don't, number one, I get a lot of referrals from attorneys. And number two, between doing taxes and tax planning and financial planning, if I start doing this, I'm just afraid of looking like a jack of all trades type of person, and that's not necessarily the
well, okay. And a lot of it's about mindset and self-image. If you do someone's taxes, would they not naturally come to you for advice on the products? If they knew that you understood them, and would that not build your business? If an attorney sends you a referral to do taxes, and you find out that trust is not properly funded, and you knew it, is it a disservice to your tax client not to mention to them that there's some things that they would benefit from if they had a conversation with you about their estate plan?
I guess I don't really want to. I don't want to be seen by the attorneys as competing with them.
Oh, you shouldn't compete with them. You ought to just blow them out of the water. When they write a trust and don't properly fund it, they're doing a disservice to their client. They're making $4,000, maybe $5,000, maybe $6,000, maybe $7,000, maybe $8,000, but then they have to go find somebody else to sell to. And if an attorney does an estate plan and calls them in for an annual review and reviews the funding of that product, that person's family is going to follow them, and they're not going to have to hunt anymore, and they're going to make a whole lot more money than the cost of that estate plan. So what I would encourage you to do is if you're worried about being a jack of all trades, then let me just throw a question out at you. What happens if you're not? Does another tax planner come in and say, you're not getting treated right because you're not being told how to properly fund this stuff, and you're making mistakes on your taxes because you're not set up properly? So I would encourage you not to worry about that. I would encourage you to grow. I'd encourage you to you don't have to be all things to all people. You're not a jack of all trades. But if you look at somebody's taxes and say, hey, did you know that if you had moved this $300,000 CD into a $300,000 MIGA, that might lower your income taxes on your Social Security? And if you don't say that, are you giving up 15, somewhere between $6,000 and $20,000 income because you didn't say that one sentence to that person? You know, so no, you know, I understand boundaries. And if your business is based around referrals from attorneys because you do taxes, I understand that you want to protect that, and that's okay. But at the same time, are you keeping your mouth shut when somebody walks out the door when they would have benefited from something that you knew because you were afraid to offend somebody that was sending you business? Would you let someone walk out that door and fall off a cliff? Would you let them walk out that door and get snake bit? You know, and I don't know if I'm answering your question or not, but there's room for everything that you do, and if you're not using it correctly, your clients like you because they come to you for their tax advice. If they know you, like you, trust you, they're going to listen to you if you spend the time with them to talk about the benefits that they might get with an estate plan, and or if they already have an estate plan, if the attorney sends them to you, that you've done the proper funding. So don't be afraid of that. Know that there's no reason to have the knowledge that you're acquiring here if you're not going to use it. And your clients want you to use it. They need you to use it. And they don't even know that you have that knowledge, and they don't even know what they don't know. Have that conversation and watch your income bump big time. I hope that answers your question. Any other questions?
Hey, Randy.
Yes.
Can I respond to that as well?
Go ahead, Jen.
Since I know him a little bit. So I know that you have your RFC, or you're studying for your MRFC. And so you're a registered financial consultant. And so when you do that, what part of finances are you not going to help them with? Are you not going to help them with their estate plan? The estate plan is a huge part of financial consulting. And so, especially since I know that you've got that designation, I would say that you're really not helping your clients to the full extent that you can, by not offering them the estate planning in addition to that. That's just my 2 cents.
Yes, thank you.
Somebody tell me what you learned today about setting the stage for the back end sale. Tell me why you think it's important, or tell me how to do it. It's not a fair question, is it? Well, all I know to tell you is, if you do the first part of this unique mechanism correctly, which is the family tree asset positioning, go to first interview, and if you do the second part, which is setting the stage to the back end sale, you will find that your clients keep coming back. Okay, and bringing their families with them. That's what I like about it. They bring their families with them, and then they get more sales. And then the families that I've gotten 2 phone calls a day for death claims that I just now noticed. And those are sad, and those are my friends. I've done business with them for a long time. I knew they were going to pass away. Their states are in order, and a lot of money's going to move around. And, you know, I'm in a sweet spot there because I did the estate plan and I tried to get it properly funded, even though sometimes it caused some family battles. So, you know, I admire you if you're getting referrals from attorneys and paying taxes or helping people with their taxes. I just think there's a door that's open to you that you shouldn't be afraid to walk in. And those people that are already doing business with you will thank you if you do take that step. All right. Anything else here?
Randall?
Yes.
A couple things. I think that as we learn what we learn, we become more holistic in our practices. And when we see things that other people don't see because of our knowledge base, we have a fiduciary responsibility to share with the clientele what is missing or what may need to be improved on as we see it. And so I think part of it is having that conversation with people who are going to refer people to you that, are professionals too, particularly CPAs and lawyers. When we see things, we want that relationship to be an honest one, and doing what's in the best interest always of the client. And if those people who are referring people to you will be in an agreement, then you won't have to worry about, well, I'm overstepping or anything, because they're going to respect that you're helping that client out to the fullest extent, and you're a team helping the client out. And so, but you have to be upfront with people who are going to be referring people to you as well.
Right, and when and that's the boundaries. It's something you have to be aware on a boundary. So I'm going to go back to the attorneys sending you business, and that's great. And if you say, "Hey, I don't want to step on their toes," then don't. But that doesn't mean you don't talk to them about properly funding the estate plans that the attorneys are sending to you. And you don't have to step on their toes if you don't do an estate plan. I mean, if you don't sell them an estate plan, that's okay. But remember that attorney's sending them to you for tax advice, and part of that tax advice is going to include knowing what products to advise. And there's a couple of tax advisors on here right now, and I hope you can see that when I show some people that if they can move some money across the street from the bank over to the insurance company using a CD versus a MIGA, and all of a sudden that reduces their tax liability on their Social Security, it's just an easy sale, But I have to know they have it. I have to know they're in possession of it. You as a tax planner know that. I don't know that. I have to go in and ask them the ballpark questions and get the information. So you have an advantage over me. And I would just encourage you to use that advantage to help people and to improve their lives. And don't look at it as a sales basis. Just look at it as this is part of my tax advice for you. This is what you should do. And these are the consequences if you do, and these are the consequences if you don't. And let them make up their own mind and watch your income go up. Anything else out there?
One other
Han
thing.
has a question.
Go ahead.
Sorry, Cynthia.
Randall, we were working on something earlier today, and according to your schedule, you're not available until Monday. So I don't know whether we can get together tomorrow, and you just need to tell me what's good for you.
Okay, I'll send you an email, and
Sure.
I'll squeeze you in tomorrow somewhere along the way.
I appreciate that. Thank you so much.
Okay. Sometimes I'm not available because I'm taking a nap.
Okay, sleepy. Yeah, that'll work.
Okay. Who else has got a question out there?
Han has a question. Are you on mute?
I think I did unmute myself. Can you hear me?
Yes, I can.
Yes.
Can you hear me? Oh,
Yes.
Perfect. Nice to officially meet you. Well,
you're breaking up real bad. I'm not sure if you're on a cell phone or something. You're breaking up real bad.
I'm on my AirPods.
Okay.
According to Zoom, it says you're on mute.
Can you hear me?
I can now.
I don't know why, but I'm driving. My question to you, Riddle, is everything inside the family that we do. I have clients who
I'm sorry. I'm sorry. Could you time out? I don't understand what you're saying. It's breaking up so bad. Can you type the question in real quick?
Hold on,
on chat?
Let me step outside real quick.
Okay.
It might be loud in here. Can you hear me now? Is this better?
This is better.
Can you hear me now? Is this better?
Yes, I can hear you. I can hear you better now.
Okay,
Yes, ma'am.
perfect.
What's the question? Okay.
My biggest question, Randall, or my question is there anything that we cannot do inside family estate docs? I have a couple of clients with I guess sensitive situation. So, case in point, I have one business owner who has like 9 separate businesses. Is that something that they're going to be able to put underneath their estate plan, as in like how they want it to be taken care of if in case one of them passes away? And also the other one is I have a couple of clients who have crypto, and they want to be able to use the crypto and put that into the funding. So is there a way to do that?
Well, yes, you can do all that in the funding kit, but you got to remember that the funding
I'm sorry,
kit
give me
is
one second. So now I can't hear you. I'm going to get
Okay.
myself off camera then. Okay, I'm sorry. Yes, go ahead.
Okay. The answer is yes. You can do it in the funding kit. And the funding kit comes with complete directions on how to handle any business situation that you get into. With crypto, I've had to deal with crypto several different times, and crypto companies are all different. And some crypto companies don't even let you name a beneficiary. So, but in the funding, if they're using crypto as part of the funding, then they have to be sure that the company that they're dealing with has a beneficiary arrangement that they can name the trust as a beneficiary of that asset. Does that make sense?
Yeah, so that what they want to do is put the crypto as part of the funding, and they want the money from the crypto to flow in to the beneficiaries. So I mean,
That's
can
fine.
they just?
Well, crypto is distributed by many different organizations. Okay, you still have to name a beneficiary of the crypto, and the crypto people you're dealing with have to provide that mechanism. And all you need to do after the trust,
wallet, right?
Right. The wallet has to have a beneficiary, and they will ask for a copy of the certificate of trust, and they will have the trust named as a beneficiary. It's just that simple. It's not hard.
Okay, so there's no like special thing that they have to do?
No, it's the same procedure. A pound of diamonds and a pound of gold. Still, if it just really truly is gold, there's no way to hook a beneficiary onto it unless you have it attached to a company that manages it, and that you've made a statement about who the beneficiary of that gold is. If you don't have that on that, then you need to say, I have some gold. It's in a Dropbox, and it goes to my grandson, and tell them where that Dropbox is. You have to be more explicit if there's no paper trail.
Okay, and that was my next question, as far as like the tangible assets, the golds and stones and diamonds and things like that. Are those things that can be put into the trust to be like a part of funding the trust as well?
Yes, so you sign a form saying that anything that doesn't have a deed or a title is in the trust, and if it's in your possession or in your home, then it's in the trust automatically. But now I have clients with oodles and oodles and boxes of diamonds and jewelry and stuff like that that they keep in their house, or in their safe. But you really have to say where it is and what it is. You need to make a list of it so that your trustee can do with it what you want them to do. Okay.
Okay, understood.
Okay. I hope that helped.
Thank you so
any other
much.
questions? Any other questions? Well, I want to wish y'all a happy Thanksgiving, and I appreciate you coming to the meeting today. Be sure and attend next week if you want to learn about gaps and cliffs. If you learn about the gaps and cliffs, the setup of the back-end cell will be a lot easier. So that's, I guess that's all I got to say about that. All right. If nobody has any more questions, I'm going to count to 3 and go away. Any more questions?
Thank you.
All right. 1, 2, 3. Happy Thanksgiving.
Happy Thanksgiving.
All right,
Happy
take care.
Thanksgiving. Bye.
Bye-bye.